And Mr. Witness, person number 10 was killed on 31st December 2007. Is that right?
Tarehe siwezi kumbuka.
Sir, I no longer remember the date.
Mr. Witness, you recall testifying that person number 10 was taken to the hospital. Do you remember that?
Ndiyo.
Yes.
And it was your testimony that he did not make it. He died. Either on the way to the hospital or at the hospital, but he didn't make it. He died.
Ni hivyo.
Yes, that is correct.
And you are showed a document by the prosecution which indicated that he was admitted to the hospital on 31 December 2007. Do you remember that?
Hebu rudia kidogo.
Please kindly repeat your question.
Counsel, you might want to make reference to the mode in which the document was shown to the witness.
Mr. Witness, you will recall that a document was put on the screen for you to look at. You were also provided with a hard copy, which contains a list of names of individuals who were injured and taken to the hospital. Do you remember that?
Ndiyo.
Yes, I do.
And do you remember seeing the name of person number 10 on that document as having been admitted into the hospital on 31 December 2007?
Ndiyo.
Yes.
And Mr. Witness, are you familiar with death certificates that are issued in Kenya?
Ndiyo, naijua.
Yes, I'm familiar with that document.
Your Honour, I leave it to my learned friend, but we do not dispute the date of the death, so unless there's an additional purpose for showing the death certificate.
I thank the prosecution for admitting that fact. We are only doing this because the witness did clearly state in his testimony that he didn't remember the dates. But since it's been conceded, then I'll move on to something else. Mr. Witness, you talked about having been present when person number 10 and 11 were attacked and killed. Do you remember that?
Ndio.
Yes.
And you describe person number 10 as having been disemboweled. Do you remember that?
Ndio.
Yes.
You also talked about the killing of person number 11. You in fact said that he was cut into pieces and put in a sack. Do you remember that?
Your Honour, actually, in fact, I don't believe that the witness testified that person number 11 was killed. It was quite clear that he was merely injured, quite seriously, but he was injured. He did not.
That I concede that was a slip, Mr. President, and thanks for the clarification. Person number 11 was attacked and was cut into pieces and put in a sack. Do you remember that?
Ndio.
Yes.
And you were called to come and collect your corpse, as they put it. But when you went there, you found out that he was still breathing. He was still alive.
Ndio.
Yes.
So, Mr. Witness, we have these two incidents. One, a person who's been disemboweled, and two, a person who's been cut to pieces and put in a sack. Is that right?
Ndio.
That is correct.
Well, Mr. Witness, were you truly present and witnessed these two events?
Ndio.
Mr. Witness, are you surprised that the medical record for person number 10 did not show, excuse me. Are you surprised to note that the medical record for person number 10 does not support your testimony? There is nothing in it suggesting that he was disemboweled.
Hebu rudia kidogo nielewe.
Please kindly repeat your question so that I may understand it.
I'll simplify it. Are you surprised to note that the death certificate of person number 10 does not show that he was disemboweled.
Counsel, instead of asking witnesses whether they will be surprised to know, why don't you simply put your proposition in concrete terms to the witness?
I would proceed as guided, Mr. President. Are you surprised to note, Mr. Witness, that person number 10 died of cardiorespiratory arrest due to shock and head injury due to multiple cuts?
Counsel, hold on. I'm thinking about this question. We have to be fair to the witness. Cardiovascular arrest, multiple cuts
To the head.
to the head. Doesn't that require a medical expert to exclude other possibilities?
Mr. President, if a person is disemboweled, I think it is something that would ordinarily appear on the death certificate if that actually did occur, because it's so dramatic. But I do take your point. The medical record clearly show that the multiple cuts this person suffered was to the head. It doesn't say to the stomach.
Proceed.
Do you have anything to say to the fact that the medical record does not show that this person received any cuts to the stomach?
Your Honour, to be fair to the witness, the medical record simply is the cause of death. That's all it's demonstrating, so I think it's only fair to explain that to the witness. It's not an explanation of all the injuries that a person may have suffered.
Mr. President, the defense still maintains its previous submissions that if the person had been disemboweled, this is definitely something that would ordinarily appear on the certificate. But we leave the point and move on. All we want to demonstrate is that there is nothing to support the statement of the witness that person number 10 was indeed disemboweled. So I'll move on and leave that point. Now let's talk about person number 11, who you saw cut into pieces and put in a sack. Do you remember telling us that?
Ndio.
Yes, I do.
Mr. Witness, person number 11 was treated and discharged that same day at the hospital. Are you surprised by that?
Fafanua kidogo nielewe.
Please, can you explain your question further or your proposition?
I am saying that person number 11 was treated and discharged from the hospital the same day he was taken to the hospital. Are you surprised by that?
Hapo siwezi kuelewa habari ya kupewa matibabu na kurudi nyumbani.
I do not understand that. The fact that one was treated and released to go back home.
The document you were showed yesterday by the prosecution shows that person number 11 was treated and discharged. What do you say to that?
Sorry, can counsel please give details of which document he's referring to?
I am referring to KenOTP 0011 0640 and specifically please bear with me, Mr. President. Let me just find it. 642 rather, line 164.
Just a correction for the record. I did show that document to the witness, but not in respect of that person yesterday.
Private session.
Yes, Mr. President.
Nous sommes en audience publique, Monsieur le Président.
We are in open session, Your Honor.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Witness, you testified yesterday that the Nandi attackers had guns. Do you remember that?
Ndio.
Yes.
Those individuals who carried guns, were they police officers or were they civilians?
Nilisema ilikuwa raia.
Answer. I said that they were civilians.
So it is your testimony that the Nandi civilians that attacked Yamumbi also carried guns.
Ndio.
Answer. Yes.
Did they use those guns?
Ndio.
Answer, yes.
And did they use them on human beings?
Ndio.
Yes.
Do you recall yesterday when you testified and you said that you stood a distance away where you could not be reached by the arrows? Do you remember that?
Ndio.
Yes.
At this time, did the attackers also have guns?
Ndio.
Yes.
Did they use the guns at you?
Ndio.
Yes.
And Mr. Witness, do you recall when you were asked by the prosecution what weapons did the attackers carry? You said they carried bows and arrows, sticks, and clubs. Do you recall that?
Ndio.
Yes.
You never included guns at that time, did you?
Hebu rudia nikuelewe unavyosema.
Answer, please kindly repeat so that I should better understand you. Overlapping speakers.
Indeed, I did not hear what Mr. Fowl was saying.
The question I asked was, you never included guns in that answer, did you?
I heard that question, but I thought you said something else when the witness was saying.
Oh, no, it was in fact my learned friend, Mr. Koech, who wanted to say something.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Koech, sorry.
Yes, indeed, Mr. President. I think there is a slight problem with translation because the Kiswahili version that is coming out of guns is actually weapons, not the name of guns in Kiswahili. I think that's where the problem is. Yes, the word that's coming out is weapons.
Mr. Farr, why don't you then repeat? The interpreters have now had the difficulty that Mr. Koech mentioned. I'm sure the interpretation will be correct the next time around.
Mr. Witness, your testimony came out as you saying that the Nandi attackers had guns. What do you mean when you use the word which was translated, or which was rather interpreted as guns? Do you mean a gun that is fired, or you meant weapon? Could you clarify what you meant?
Ningeomba nifafanue yale unayoyauliza.
Answer. Let me explain what you have just asked. Can you be more specific? Can you be more elaborate, please?
Mr. President, I would obtain the Kiswahili word for gun from my learned colleagues to the left and would put that to the witness to see whether that is what he meant.
Please proceed.
Mr. Witness, when you said the Kalenjin, the Nandi attackers had guns, were you referring to bunduki?
Hapana.
No.
Thank you very much, Mr. Witness. That clarifies the point. Now, Mr. Witness, we are going to talk about...
Counsel, I don't think that clarifies the question. Let me ask him that, please. Witness, you've had counsel use the expression in Swahili bunduki to refer to firearms that shoot bullets. The question to you is, did you observe at any time in 2007 whether or not the assailants that you described as Nandi attackers use bunduki?
Hapana.
Answer. No.
Please proceed.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, may I ask that we go into private session?
For how long?
About 5 minutes, Mr. President. No, 5 to 10 minutes maximum.
Private session then.